Hello and welcome to the next great episode of The Miracle of Married, Still Talking. Another day, another miracle. Michali, what's happening? How's married life?
Married life is good.
Yeah.
Mother life is hectic. School's just started, holidays are over, and we've just had a birthday marathon. One of our kids turned 8, another one of them turned 9, and we've had a crazy weekend. I also had a birthday. Yeah, so birthday marathon's over, school started, and things will hopefully now get back to normal.
Yeah. Hopefully we can talk slightly more.
A little bit more.
I think one of the greatest challenges that couples have is that on the one hand, there's a relationship that a couple that we would develop together between us and sort of on our own terms and our own understandings. And then we have people who are very close to us, parents, can also have siblings, but usually as parents, who love us dearly and who just like for 18 years when we're living at home, they looked after us and provided us with insight and knowledge and care and advice. Naturally, they want to continue doing that, as all parents do, with the greatest of all good intentions. And often what happens is that creates a situation of conflict where there's what the couple wants to do and then there's what the parents say or think that they should do. And sometimes, from experience, some parents are, not our parents, but some parents are very overtly clear that you guys should be doing this, you should be feeding a baby like this, you should be holding him like this, you shouldn't give them that food yet, all things like that. And then there's parents who don't say anything, but it's very clear that they're thinking it all in their head. Okay. And you've got to try to figure them out as well at the same time. And then there's parents who really just stay back and don't say anything, and they don't make their views, they're just happy for you to take over. So how, I guess, on the one hand, you want to have a really good relationship with your husband, like your husband and wife. On the other hand, parents are really precious and so valuable to us, even as we get older.
Yeah.
And valuable to their grandchildren, to our children.
So want involvement too.
Yeah, so how do you keep the organic family happy, the relationship happy, at the same time keeping parents and parent-in-laws happy?
Yeah.
So I'm putting that to you to solve all of the world's problems.
Okay. Well, it's really not fair for us to speak about this because we've been so lucky.
That's true. Majorly.
Yeah. Our parents are amazing and they definitely naturally know the balance. Maybe they learnt the balance a little bit, but they don't really tell us what to do. They don't get involved too much. But I think that part of that is also because it comes from the couple as well, a couple that shows confidence. I'd imagine that the parents would feel that confidence and say, okay, they're a unit, they're not really asking for advice. I can imagine that there are couples where the minute there's a problem, the wife will call their mother.
Mm.
So, it's not just coming from the in-laws. Sometimes there are cues sent from within the couple themselves, which is, I need your advice, I want to tell you what happened. And so it's hard for them to also know the line. We don't... Again, something else that I think helped us a lot. We started our marriage very differently to a lot of people in that we didn't actually live in the same place as our parents for a lot of the beginning. For 2 years, we started off our family really on our own. We made all our mistakes on our own with parenting and all of that beginning learning things where you want to just figure yourself out.
Sorry, Connor.
So we did it on our own, which I think was the greatest blessing, especially because, I was young. I was 20 when we married, 21 when we had our first baby. So naturally, I would have been thinking, oh my gosh, I'm so young, I'm a new mum, I need advice or guidance. And I remember that when Hannah was just born, we had my mum and your mum and other family were there, but for an extended period of time, it was my mum and your mum.
Living with us in our
Living
small
with
apartment.
us. And I remember feeling like, oh my gosh, I want to know how you do the bath. I want to know what's the best way to change nappies. And like we were taking advice from everywhere. And then they left and it was just on our own. And that was also the biggest blessing because we had to figure out what we wanted together. We needed to figure out what does our unit decide. We got to play around with the different options and see what felt right to us with parenting and that sort of thing. And also like you want a level of privacy in your relationship in that, especially at the beginning of starting your family and starting your marriage, you're also making mistakes with each other. You don't really know the best way to communicate. You upset each other because there's no real understanding of like how are we going to work in this home together, how are we going to handle stresses, how are we going to handle all that. You also want space and you want to be able to figure it out yourselves as well. And like if you're really struggling with something and you're going and it's not working, then fine, go ask advice. But there's something fun in the play, in the game of figuring each other out and figuring out how it works for each other. But just to finish this point off, and then I want to hear what you have to say, is that I would just say again, you want to first and foremost build a confidence within yourselves that, okay, we know what we want in our relationship. We know what we want for our children. We have an opinion. And therefore, if anyone comes in with their own opinion, it's secondary. We first know what we want, and then it's just advice which you can take or leave, and that's it.
Maybe I agree with you, but maybe taking or leaving advice from your parents or parent-in-laws is not really always an option. Sometimes the option is take their advice or else, right?
Or they'll get upset,
or
that sort of thing.
And again, we are so blessed that our parents are not like this.
That.
And if they would give us advice and we'd say, thank you, but I think we're going to choose this way, they would be very respectful and really amazing. But I don't think everyone's like that.
Can I keep finding something thinking about the TV?
No, which one?
We don't have a TV.
Yeah.
We decided we don't want a TV.
Yeah.
And your mum felt like it was going to be so helpful for us with all of our children to have a TV.
Yeah.
She was so sweet. Hey Ev, I hope you don't mind me showing the story.
Yeah.
But there would be very polite hints every now and again. Oh, Michal, we just have this TV. It's sitting in our garage. Just like polite.
Yeah. Just a spare one, we can drop it off. Yeah. But again, that was also done in a really nice way. And
Yeah,
I think,
it was.
and this will also touch generally on giving criticism or feedback in marriage. I think that needs to be another discussion. But I think the way I personally believe that you can tell anyone anything about them or what they're doing, and it doesn't have to come across as confrontational, and it can be really like taken on by the person if it's done in the right way. So I think that
maybe tell us how. Just because it does actually fit in here, no? It is. Because even, what if the in-laws are listening? No, seriously. So not
I feel like there's another discussion just for like...
How to give,
how to deal with issues, and communication is such a big thing.
Okay, next time.
Hold out.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah, next time.
But I really feel that if it's done in the right way, you can say anything. And then always the couple, will make up their mind, but also the way that if you get feedback or criticism, the way that in the right way, you can also take that or leave that and not offend the other person if you do that in the right way.
Okay.
So I think that a lot of this all comes down to, it's not about saying the parent-in-laws need to be quiet and back off, and it's not about saying, the parents need to accept everything.
Yeah.
It's about each person being true to themselves, but also being open to hear the other person's perspective and recognizing that, they say in the in-laws, whatever I may think about my in-laws, which I happen to love my in-laws deeply, whatever I think about their ideas shaped you, and I chose you out of everyone to marry you. So I obviously value who they are and what they've done. But I think that if the communication is right, then you can learn and grow and take new ideas without offending anyone. And I also like to say that I remember at the beginning, right when Hannah was born, when it was like brand new to both of us, and I'd never really babysat or done things with little kids. It was all very brand new. Some of the things your mum said, I took straight away. Some of the things she said, I think I said no, or basically I maybe said it in a nice way, but I didn't take on. But what it did do was it dropped an idea in my head,
Yeah.
And years later, I remember thinking, this is what Ruth said, and actually taking that advice. And I feel that a lot
It's
with
true,
my parents.
there is a lot to gain from our parents and from the in-laws. Even if it's a different opinion, there's nothing to lose from hearing other ways.
Yeah.
As long as as long as it's not coming from a needy place again. As long as you're confident in who you are.
Yeah.
But it's still good to hear. If you're confident, it's good to hear. If you're not confident, then it's just going to throw you off to hear too much.
Yeah.
It's all a bit of a balance.
But I think generally, I think it's important to remember sometimes when you hear things from parents or in-laws that is not comfortable to hear, that these children, let's say it's raising children or if it's in your relationship, in our case, it's their daughter and it's their grandchildren, and in my case it's my parents' son. They also have a say. I mean, they spent so many years and so much effort raising us and caring for us and continuing to care and support us.
Mm-hmm.
They also have a say, and it's also not fair to say, all right, you've done everything for me until now, goodbye,
Yeah.
I've got someone else. I don't think that that's right. It is true that a person needs to separate themselves from their parents' home and begin their own home with their own, traditions and values and things. But there's a lot to learn.
True. It's so true.
And can I say one other thing?
Yeah, no. So
And that is that generally when it comes to parent or in-law and children relationships, the way that I see it, is that we have a biblical obligation to honour our parents. Our parents don't have an obligation to honour us. Their obligation is to make sure that they can feed us and care for us until we can look after ourselves.
Yeah,
right?
At that stage their obligation.
That's like the age of 13, 14, 15. Most young people can go get a job and sustain themselves if they need it.
And I'll just add to it, the amount that goes into children until that age, there is
crazy.
no way that we will ever pay the debt. There is no way we will forever be like duty bound to our parents based on what they've given to us. I mean, if all they gave us was life, we would be duty bound to forever give them thanks. And they've given so much more.
Life and food and nappy changes and cleaning up vomit and schlepping to school.
And our rudeness and our moods and our teenage and our struggles and our school problems and boys and everything, it all falls on the parents.
Uh-huh. So when you look at it like that, you're still able to choose your own relationship, and you have to make your own relationship. You're not supposed to just continue what happened at home. But I think that it's our obligation to recognise that we have to honour our parents and
show respect.
Show respect, and what that doesn't mean is when they say something to say, stop telling me what to do. I know better, or leave us alone. We'll make our own decisions. I think there's nice ways to do it, and you don't have to take everything they say.
And what if the parents are being very rude in how they say it? What if they keep on nagging you about it? What if they're being particularly difficult?
I don't think that you have to necessarily change your ways, but I think you still have to give them utmost respect.
Okay.
That's my personal belief.
Yeah.
Because even if they're rude, you, like you said before, you'll never be able to repay them for all they've done for you. Even if some children have a chip on their shoulder about one thing that their parents did once upon a time, or how they're late to pick them up and they've always been scarred by that, whatever, we still have a deep obligation to honour them. Honouring someone doesn't mean taking everything that they say and applying it to your life, but it means, number one, listening to them and not feeling attacked or judged when they say it, even if maybe they are judging you when they're saying it, and then seeing how you can incorporate it. And I also think that that's, in my eyes, that's an important lesson of parenting, which maybe we can talk about another time, is that parents don't need to control every aspect of their child's life. What they need to do is give the child seeds, plant seeds in their mind of values and ideas. Yeah. So that, your mum might say, or my mum might say, parent with love. Yeah. And at the time, I might be thinking, no, we need to discipline them. Yeah. But that thing will sort of stick around.
Yeah, it's almost like a comment. I remember, I don't know if it's true. I remember once your dad saying to me, Michal, you know that when someone asks you a question, you don't actually need to answer it. Yeah, that's all he said. And then I don't even think I responded to it. It was a sentence in passing. It was like a little seed.
Mm.
And I remember, like, I've thought about it a lot after, because especially when I'm tired, my filter's gone. If someone asks me, I give an answer. But it's like, you don't have to. You know, someone asks a question. Yeah, but there's an example, because often there are times like, and my dad does the same thing as well. He'll just say something very quietly, leave it there on the table, and you'll hear it and think back to it later. But it's often those silent messages, which are just said at the right time and in the right way, that you actually really, they do know us. They do see us and they do care about us and want the best for us.
Yeah.
But I want to add something that's you've said it to a lot of couples in the past in preparation for weddings. And I like the idea, and I think it works here as well. You've said, what about parents that, you know, they have a whole idea for your wedding and they want it to go exactly like this, and you don't want to take it on, but you don't want to offend them. They're putting a lot of money into your wedding, they care about you, they want to be part of it. What do you do? And you've told them, you be proactive, choose things you don't care about, and say, Mum, can you help me with the invitation on the back? I want a little whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever. You've given them.
You choose like what's important to you. You make the decision. The things which you're open to, ask for your parents' input.
Yeah, and I'm sure with kids as well, it's like, okay, you don't want your parent to tell you about how to discipline your kid because you want to figure that out for yourself. But you can say, I don't know, Mum, what do you think about when my baby is going to sleep and it's the weather's changing between seasons? What do you think about clothing and ways to dress them so that they'll be comfortable? Like things which are not heavy. So just keep asking,
Can I just strengthen how important I think what you're saying now is? Because I think parents always want to feel like they're respected and you still want them and need them, right? Parents want to feel needed because they were needed for so many years, and then you say, sorry, don't need you anymore.
Yeah.
But I think, and if they don't feel needed, then what happens is that the parents end up like trying to like make themselves be needed, which can be felt as annoying for the kids, and then the kids push away. What we need to do, like you said, is be proactive. So recognize that they need to be needed, and to say, and to ask them, say, you know, how do you think, whatever, like you said, putting them to sleep, or what pram do you think would be a good one, and let them come and like actually, and you genuinely appreciate what they want to say, but you initiate it rather than wait for it to be put onto you.
Yeah.
And I think that's like a good way of keeping the balance healthy, where they can have their input, but it doesn't make you have to choose between what you and your partner want and what your parents want for you.
It's making you proactive, and it's giving you control of this whole area. You control the relationship in a positive way. You're not just waiting for conflict. You keep creating positive times.
Yeah.
And the last thing is that in all of this, there's like layers in life. There's the things that we deal with and we see day to day, which is a flying conversation, or this just happened and this person reacted, and then there's the underlying layer. And in this case, there's the conflict is the outer layer, the inner layer is the relationship. We have to remember that the relationship is so much more important than any of the small things. Like the small things that happen day to day, they're momentary, but the relationship means it's for life. It's you're giving your children grandparents, and you want your children to see your relationship with the grandparents. You want your children to see that family is important. You want them to love you and to show you respect in the way that you'll show your parents respect. So it's just important with all of this stuff, because there can be lots of conflicts, and it is a whole area of learning. And people, I think, need to be forgiving and patient with themselves as well with all of this. But the relationship is just what's important.
I love that, because we all focus on the education of our children and how we bring them up. But what you don't realise is that the way that you behave is going to be the way that they behave. Like the greatest education is when a child watches you and just sees how you do it.
And they watch.
So if they see you fighting with your parents or fighting with your in-laws, then don't expect when they grow up and have their kids and you're a grandfather or grandmother, don't expect them to behave any different to you.
Yeah, you're teaching them what the role of granny is and grandpa. You're teaching them
how to relate to them, how to relate to people who, whatever, may think differently to you.
Yeah.
So what happens if it does get overboard and like the parents maybe are overstepping the mark, and sort of every 2 seconds it's why do it like this, do it like this, and sort of how do how do you deal with it when it gets bad?
Yeah. So there's advice that I got before I got married, which was that anything which deals with your in-laws and advice with your in-laws, their child speaks to them about it. And if it's your parents, you speak to them about it.
Yeah.
That's all I have to say. I don't know. We're not so well versed in this because it doesn't happen every day.
Yeah. The last thing I want to say, which is what you said in the past, is that there is so much to gain from grandparents, and they both bring in a calmness because they're not dealing with the child all the time, so they have a whole new and like a healthy perspective around the child and love and fun.
It's all positive.
But we don't have to be worried if our parents behave in a way which we wouldn't to our children, or like
they
let's
do things
say
differently.
right. So like our last talk was about gifts, right? And literally as we were talking, your mum was on the plane. She wrote afterwards on Facebook. She was on the plane with tons of gifts for the kids.
And she was listening to our last podcast about how there shouldn't be too many gifts, and it's about presents and not presents.
Yeah. So which is hilarious.
She found it very funny.
Yeah.
It was so funny.
But there, for example, we are trying in our home. We're trying to do it one way, and in that example, your parents and my parents do it differently. Yeah. Right? And it happens with a lot of things. Mm-hmm. But we accepted all the gifts very graciously, and we were happy, and the kids were very happy, and everyone was happy. And the reason why we were able to do that was not because we believed there should be lots of gifts and we had to like forego our own values, because the children learn their primary values from their home. Mm-hmm. And so our kids will learn our way. But that doesn't mean that they can't benefit and enjoy
from seeing
other ways.
Way. Yeah, and they see it in the grandparents' home.
Yeah.
For another example, we don't have a TV. Your parents do.
Yeah.
We don't mind the kids go there and they get to watch TV.
Yeah.
It's like
like chocolates and lollies. Like in our house, they barely get. They go there and it's a free for all.
Chocolates.
But it's okay because the children know.
Still learning what we hold as important, and then it's okay. Let them see that people do things differently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't think they'll take those things on as themselves. I feel like what they get in their home is what they take on.
Yeah.
The worst thing, what you don't want, and like the ultimate damage you cause to a child, is when you start talking about about the child's grandparents to them, and say, this grandmother is this, and she's really naughty because she shouldn't be having chocolates, and then you start fighting with the mother or mother-in-law about it in front of the kids.
Yeah.
All you're doing there is
ruining the relationship.
Like you're ruining the relationship.
Teaching
you're ruining
the kids wrong.
like not teaching them to honor correctly.
Yeah. I mean, you can at the same time. Let's say they were giving tons of sweets, and you were very nervous about it.
Yeah.
You could say, I'd rather maybe give them experiences instead of.
Yeah.
I don't know. You can.
You can bring it up in the right time.
But your message is that don't worry about them doing things differently to you. They will learn from their parents.
Yeah.
And they will see what others do as secondary.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can we just do a quick disclaimer?
Yeah.
The disclaimer is that we absolutely love our parents.
We do.
And we love and we love their involvement in our children and in our children's lives and in our life, and we encourage them to be involved and to be more involved. And for your parents who don't live here to come more often and stay with us, to my parents to come over more, we truly deeply love you and value you.
Hashtag when your parents and in-laws listen to your podcast.
Yeah. Yeah, so just in case.
We would have said that anyway.
Yeah, no, but we actually genuinely feel that way. And we feel very blessed.
We are so blessed.
We really are.
Thanks, guys.
And I would also suggest that everyone, unless like in extreme circumstances, if we choose to look at our relationship with our parents once we're old and have our own kids in the right way, people will value and realize how blessed they are. And just this week, I was at 2 funerals and of parents of children, and you realize how much the children value their parents and love their parents and how much they gain from their parents. And like when you're a child, you feel it. Then like you have children and things are really busy and there's work, and like you just all of a sudden feel like you don't value it so much. But then you get older and the parents get older and you start, it comes back.
Wow, okay.
But it's you really need to, while things are hectic and while you feel you know the way for your kids, to really like value every day you have with your parents, or every day we have with our parents, and just just, I don't know, phone them up and just tell them how much you love them and care for them and ask their advice, because generally they've done it before and they know things that we don't.
Generally, we're very blessed to have parents.
We are.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So
Till next
there we
time.
go. I'm almost crying.
Are you almost crying?
No, but it's very. I
love
love our parents and our parents.
I would be crying. I'm crying on the inside.
Okay. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Please let us know how you deal with your parents or parent-in-laws when they come and offer advice or overstep the boundary, and where the boundary is. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
okay. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.